What's up? Welcome back. Welcome back. Before we get into the show, just a little bit of knowledge to share. Obviously, this is NBA free agency time, which has been super busy. One of the biggest news of free agency, which we will talk about on this episode, is Damian Lillard. He was waived and stretched, which is the largest waive and stretch in NBA history. Every season through 2030, they'll be paying Dame 22,516,603 through 2030. Now, I was one of the people like everybody on thread saying, yo, the Suns should probably do this with Bradley Beal. They literally cannot do it with Bradley Beal. You say why? When it comes to the stretch provision, it cannot exceed 15% of the salary cap. Bradley Beal would not be their first player that is on the stretch provision. The Suns currently have Nasir Little and EJ Liddell are currently being paid on the stretch provision. So they stuck with Bill. Showtime. Fellas, how are y'all doing on this evening, day 2 of NBA free agency?
Good, brothers, excuse me, plural. I'm just on, I'm on vacation, so that's why I got the Don Julio. That's why I'm not in my usual setup, but it's all good. Had to link and get some discussion on this crazy day, 2 days, I guess now, NBA free agency. So it's good to link back up and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm all over the place right now. I'm trying to keep up with everything. It's been a lot, but it's been fun.
Back, shout out to Chris Lindsay Hoops, one of the people that's been keeping it. Shams owe him a check. Shams need to send him a check because he's been doing a darn good job for Threads specifically, as a lot of y'all know that are on Threads. Everybody mainly is on X, Twitter, whatever you call it still. So shout out to Chris Lindsay Hoops and others that have been putting that information out on Threads. Getting straight into it. Before we even do that, my fault. We got a little business to take care of. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, share, tell any and everybody about this episode. Make sure we teach the algorithm that this is great content to push out further, and make sure that you subscribe to the Basketball Intelligence newsletter. Make sure you check them out. Aaron, great knowledge as always. Evan, their podcast. If you really love basketball, you're going to check them out as well. Now getting into it. What has been some of your favorite moves of free agency so far? Jarrett, you started off. You give me 2 to 3, however many you got. You might have 10. I don't know. You deep in your bag at times, though. Favorite signings, moves, trades so far in NBA free agency?
My absolute favorite so far is my Knicks getting Jordan Clarkson. I've been saying all season that they need to find a way to get Dante back, but for them to go out and get Jordan Clarkson, a former six-man of the year, that shows me, all right, we have a confident front office. They know what they're doing. Getting Yabusele as well, who had a really good season. Um, yeah, I mean, I was actually surprised about the Yabusele move. Didn't see that coming at all. And you know, low key, I kind of like the move that Miles Turner's going to the Bucks, even though the whole Damian Lillard situation. But Miles Turner to the Bucks, they just lost Brook Lopez, so Miles Turner going there, basically the same player, but just better laterally on defense. So I feel like this is a good move. Milwaukee's doing some things.
Real quick. So your Knicks, it's been reported right before we started the show that as of right now, Mike Brown is the favorite. They're just waiting on the approval from your governor, Mr. Dolan. How are you feeling about possibly your new head coach being Mike Brown?
So I'm a big Mike Brown fan. Going back to the Cavalier days with LeBron. Got a championship with the Warriors, of course. Got the Kings back into short period of relevancy. But I like the move. I like the move of Mike Brown. I do think that defensively we will take a step back because Mike Brown, even though he was known for defense in Cleveland, when he went to Sacramento, that wasn't the case at all. So I'm hoping that he'll find a nice balance between the offense and the defense with this Knicks team if he decides to go with that team decides if Dolan decides to go with this coaching move. But I like the move.
Rush, some of your favorite signings thus far or trades of the free agency period. We only 2 days in, but it's been a lot of movement.
Yeah, I like the Luke Cornett signing for the Spurs. We've seen, even though I think famously, who was it? Was it David Fisdale that says he can't jump over an envelope or whatever when he was playing in New York? But we've seen he's had incredible impact on winning on the Celtics whenever he had to fill in for Al and or KP. And we've seen this offseason, I guess everybody's trying to prepare for Wemby and maybe even OKC. Everybody's just signing centers. So if you're a center right now, a decent center in the league, it's up. You're probably going to get the best contract that you can get right now if you're an available center. I mean, Clint Capella got what, 3 years? 21?
21, 7 years.
3 for 21. All guaranteed when they already have Steven Adams in Sengun. So definitely see a trend with a certain number of teams, especially competitive teams in the league, and making sure that they have the center position nice and solid. So I like the Cornet deal. I think Denver has had a tremendous offseason free agency so far. You dump Michael Porter Jr., you get Cam, you get Bruce back. I don't know if he's still as effective as he was when he was with Denver. More recently, I've just been seeing him in like cowboy boots and hats and all these outfits. So I don't know if his fit game is tight. You know what I'm saying? Like he go to the rodeo and show out. I don't know if he's still Bruce Brown from the championship season, but we'll find out. And then they just signed Tim Hardaway Jr. To a 1-year deal today. So Denver has sort of reloaded. I think you could probably make the argument that Michael Porter Jr. is a more talented player than Cam, although that might not even be that arguable. But I think Cam's a better fit because I think he's going to be able to do more than what Porter Jr. brought, especially when his jump shot wasn't falling. So, like what Denver did, obviously, Houston has sort of knocked out of the park. We mentioned it with the Capella news, getting Dorian Finney-Smith. So, I mean, there's just a lot of there hasn't been like that really big deal other than like the Miles Turner one, and I think just because of all that went into it happening, but there have been like a lot of really solid signings and transactions that are putting some teams in really good position, at least on paper, to compete next year. So, yeah, I'm just enjoying it, but definitely the Spurs and Nuggets stand out to me.
Jarrett, as Rush just mentioned, so you even had it as Miles Turner coming to the Bucks as one of your favorite signings. Where do you think Dame possibly ends up? It's been reports, I think Chris Haynes said recently, that he has double-digit teams calling this man's phone to get the services of Dame. Where do you think is a good fit or the best fit for Damian Lillard, Jarrett?
I think his best fit, the best place for him, is possibly Minnesota. I feel like, we talked very vocally about how Mike Conley is not the point guard that he's used to be on this team, and they may need to go younger. And Damian Lillard's not much younger than Conley, but he's significantly a more effective player than Conley in this point in both of their careers. So I feel like that would be a good move. Phoenix looked good. Well, he's a free agent, so it would make sense for him to sign with Phoenix. But yeah, I feel like possibly the best fit would be Minnesota.
Let me know what y'all think about this. Rush, you could chime in. Let me know what y'all think about this, though. I think a possible good fit would be for him to sign in Houston. I think you go to Houston. He should be back by playoff time. He's back by playoffs. And then we are in a position that, hey, He should be back by the playoffs. You know, I've been vocal on Fred is not the option at point guard long term. You bring Dame in, he comes in for the playoffs, and then next year he starts. You have Fred come off the bench. I like Fred off the bench. Fred starting. Dame to Houston. Yeah, I think that would be a good fit.
I don't know. It's hard to say because we don't really know what version of Dame we're gonna get when he comes back. Like, I hope he's 85% of what he was before he got hurt, but you just never know, especially with the Achilles and especially with an older guard. I think just knowing the history of Dame and him being a top 75 player of all time, yeah, I think it could be a good fit, even if he didn't start, right? Like, even let's say they keep Fred slotted in that starting PG position, bring Dame off the bench. I think that would be pretty formidable. I think though, he wanted to go to Miami originally. He got sent to Milwaukee. Miami is seriously still in need of talent, even talent that you may be a little unsure of if it's still as talented as it used to be. So I would keep an eye on Miami. I think I posted that earlier today on Threads to see if that's where he decides to end up. That's where he wanted to go before he got traded to the Bucks. So I would assume he still wants to go there.
Hey, I was talking to my sister about that earlier today. I said he already mentioned and alluded to that he was going through depression having to live in Milwaukee. Miami ultimately already that changes that already. You go to Miami, you ain't got to worry about that. As far as we know, he keep everything private. As far as we know, he's single now. So Miami, that's a perfect fit right there. My only thing, if he goes to Miami, we don't know what person we're going to get from him. That's correct. But if he still has the goal of he's trying to win a title, this is not that same Heat team when he originally wanted to go there. So maybe he still goes there. If he does go there, I just hope he knows it's no title being won in Miami.
Yeah, but I mean, what do we know about Dame though? I mean, people were trying to get him to leave Portland to join ex-contender years before, right? And he was like, nah, I don't want to win like that. I think he even had some comments about when Durant joined the Warriors or whatever. Mm-hmm. So maybe you have an Achilles injury and reality hits you and you realize you're on the back half of your career, so maybe he changes his mind. That's totally possible and understandable even, but I don't know. I just hear South Beach is really nice. So I just thought you might want to call it home while also collecting the NBA paycheck, but I could definitely see him saying, hey, I want to join a contender as well.
Hey, Jarrett, we talked about some of our favorite signings and trades and whatnot. On the team aspect, which teams do you feel actually got better? There's been some movement, and some teams, it's just been signings, but they didn't per se get better.
For one, I think Houston definitely got better. I feel like a lot of these teams are going towards like that two big lineup that they've seen OKC win with, and also what Boston did. So a lot of these centers, like Roger said, if you good center, you're gonna get that, probably $100 million contract or something. But one sneaky team that I feel like got better was Atlanta. Atlanta seems like they're stacking up as well, some players. And I like what they're doing, like sneaky, but under the radar stuff. I like what they're doing. And as far as I want to go back to the Dame situation real quick though. Maybe he can go to Detroit. Pair him with Cade. I feel like that'll be a nice backcourt. Because I don't know how long Ivy's gonna be out for. Like I'm not sure if he's like gonna be back next season. Like I don't know the severity of his injury. But Ivy coming off the bench would be still good, Have him as a six man, and then you have Dame and Cade there. You can slide Cade to the two. I think that would be a good nice fit for both parties.
I think Ivy will be back before Dame because Ivy got injured before.
Yeah.
Like earlier, and so Ivy probably be back before Dame, but Hey, we shall see. Like I said, Chris Haynes said he got double-digit teams calling this man. So Dame gonna have options, and I'm sure he's gonna take his time and figuring out where he wants to go. And whatever team gets him is being reported he'll be back by playoff time. So once playoff come, that's when we'll see Dame more than likely. So whatever team signs him, I would think, like you're alluding to, you would actually have to already have at least a point guard and a backup already on the squad because you're not getting Dame immediately. He won't be back till playoff time, if that, with an injury regarding that. Looking at it on the other aspect though, Rush, which teams do you feel though are in danger of actually declining next season with some of their moves or lack of moves?
Well, I look, man. I'm on vacation. I'm trying to enjoy my family time, and you keep asking me these leading questions, knowing what you want to ask me instead of just asking me the question. I don't appreciate this because obviously, answer number one, the team that comes to the forefront of my mind is the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, look, they got my man Jake, who is, I think, far better than most people know and would give him credit for. He's not a sexy signing. I get that. But I think when you talk about 3-and-D, athleticism, young, and relatively cheap, I think they got him on on account of how he was traded to Sacramento. I think Sacramento could only offer him but so much. And so LA was able to come in matching that. I think it's just a better spot for him. So that was actually a really underrated signing, I think. But we've got the whole LeBron thing going on, which there's always a LeBron thing going on. But yeah, I mean, we need a big. And what's interesting is most people would have said, "Oh, the Lakers are about to have a center fall right into their lap because DeAndre Ayton is going to be he was bought out." So everybody's like, "Oh, the Lakers are going to be able to sign him. Lakers are going to be able to sign him." But I don't think anybody saw Miles Turner walking away from Indiana. So now you have Indiana, which could be a formidable landing spot for DeAndre Ayton. So I don't even know that it's a given that he ends up with the Lakers anymore. And he's supposed to clear waivers. Is it tomorrow? Is it tomorrow at 5 or is it today at 5? I can't remember. It might be Wednesday at 5.
Wednesday.
Because he was bought out. He was bought out Sunday, right?
Yeah, I think it's Wednesday.
Okay, so yeah, when he's bought out tomorrow at 5. So I think the last solid reporting I heard was there's a good chance that he winds up with the Lakers, whatever that means. But I think it was before Miles Turner signed with Milwaukee. So if they strike out on Ayton, man, I don't know what's out there. I gotta go check Bobby Marks' Twitter or Keith Smith and see best available free agents at center because everybody else has been gobbled up. So I think you have to look at LA. They need help on the wings, especially after losing Dorian Finney-Smith. We know the team can be talented offensively, but is seriously challenged defensively on the perimeter and in the interior. So, it's still early. There are still guys out there who can be more than serviceable at, those two positions of need. But, we saw Rob sit on his hands last offseason. So hopefully that's not going to happen this year. So I need to see something, but Lakers have to be at the top of everybody's list of slow out of the gates.
Who comes to mind for you, Jarrett, outside of obviously, as Rush mentioned, the Los Angeles Lakers?
The Boston Celtics. Yeah, like they seem like they're just losing everybody. They lost Holiday, they lost Cornette, they Tatum's out for foreseeable future. Horford, we don't even know where Horford's going. Like it's been rumors that he may go to the Lakers. So who knows what's gonna happen with them? So like I'm not mad at it. I don't want to see Boston win again. I'm not a Boston fan. Shout out to Jess though, because I know she's probably going through it right now.
No, you don't gotta shout her up. Forget her.
Hey, Jarrett, I want to ask you this. You mentioned the Hawks, right? And
Yeah.
the sneaky moves that they've done. A lot of people are having them as a sleeper team in the East coming out next year.
Mhm.
you having a team in the East, the Knicks, do you feel the Knicks are still better than the Hawks, or with the additions that the Hawks have made, the Hawks are better than the Knicks at this point?
No, the Knicks are definitely better. Definitely. The Knicks, they still got the thing with the Knicks, they didn't lose nobody, which is good. They just added pieces. So, I mean, you add in someone like Jordan Clarkson, that's right there. That's a steal, honestly, because for a while I didn't know what was going to happen with Jordan Clarkson. Like, I was like, is he going to stay with Utah? Is he going to like request a trade? Like, what's going on with him? Like, someone has to go get him from Utah. Like, he can't
Hey,
just waste his career over there.
hey, under or over 3 squares for Jordan Clarkson this season. How many he gonna have?
Over,
I'm taking the over.
over. He's definitely going to square with a lot of people this season.
So what's the ceiling you
Hey,
think for this Hawks team? What y'all thinking? Top 4 seed, top 3
look,
seed in that wide open
look.
East?
All I'm gonna say is, from a defensive standpoint, think about it. In a clutch situation, say your teams are playing offense, switching offense for defense. An opposing offense could have to try to score on Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, Reese Shea, Jalen, and a Congress. Like,
And Porzingis.
Porzingis. Like that's scary. Now, these are the most talented offensive players in the world, so of course, like somebody's going to be able to score them. But I mean, they're going to make it tough. I mean, that's length, switchability. They can blow up a lot of sets with their versatility that they would have with a unit that's as lengthy and defensively talented as them. So, look, it's really easy to overreact in what are we in July officially? Games aren't played on paper, but I don't know that you can rule out a top 4 or 5 seed for Atlanta. KP's healthy, which is the biggest if in all of basketball, but he's healthy. I think Atlanta could they could surprise some people, and obviously once Tatum went down and Halliburton went down, I feel like they saw that there is a window. There is a very legitimate window for us to try to get in here and make a run. And they made the move, so I'm very, very interested to see how they come together. But I think I could see them anywhere not one. Ooh, I can see them anywhere 4, 4 to 6.
Hey, looking at, I'm gonna just ask you because you said I've been asking leading questions. So, do you think LeBron should have took a pay cut to help the Lakers build out the roster to win a title? It's been a lot of discussion of, hey, you talking about you want to win a title and you want to stay in LA, but you opted in for 52 million, which was a lot of the salary cap coming into this season right here. Should players like LeBron and others take pay cuts to win titles?
No.
Straight no.
And that's not the Don Julio talking. We've discussed this before. Like, I don't feel like players should be able to make as much as they can. Now, for guys who want to take pay cuts, shout out to you. I would say that's the ultimate team player or whatever, because we've seen how quickly these careers can turn. One twisted knee, one ruptured Achilles. We saw what happened to Isaiah Thomas, tragically. Back the Brinks truck up. Brother's still trying to get back in the league. So nothing is guaranteed. And yeah, people can look and say LeBron's made X amount of hundreds of millions of dollars. He's a billionaire or whatever. But it's always easy when it ain't yours. Is all I'm going to say. It's always easy to say somebody don't need it when it's not your bank account that's being affected. And the onus has to be on management to be able to make the moves necessary to put a contender out. And if you can't and you just do the best that you can do, then so be it. LeBron's the one who opted in, so he's got to live with the best results that Rob can put forward. But under no circumstances would I ever blame a player for taking the max amount of money owed to them, or say that they need to take a pay cut, because they've earned it. And nothing's guaranteed in life, and especially in professional sports.
Jarrett, there's been rumors of movement now with this happening, and Rob ain't been making no moves. And for all we know, he's somewhere on vacation because we haven't heard nothing outside of the Jake signing. Do you think there's a possibility that LeBron will not end his career as a Laker?
I hit the last part. I'm sorry.
Do you think there's a possibility that LeBron does not end his career as a Laker?
Nah, I think he's going to stay with the Lakers. To me, I put a post on Threads yesterday about that. I'm like, why would LeBron request a trade at this point? Like, he's older. He has a good opportunity if they make the right moves to, compete for a championship. They got Luka. They got one of the best players in the league. They got Austin Reeves on basically like found gold. He was undrafted. So for him to develop to this player that he is today, nobody thought that. I figured, if they could get, like at least 2 good moves, I feel like they can compete. And LeBron's older. There's no point for him to just up and leave at this point. Like, give this team an opportunity to actually, all right, let's see what we can do this offseason, and then we'll roll with the punches after that. And then if anything, it's LeBron. He can request a trade mid-season, and anybody will take him at that point.
This is true, but the money, that's where I think it was Sam said that there wasn't much of a trade market for Bron at this point in his career. So we'll see what happens with that. When we look at it, one of the players that is kind of suffering from this, he was supposed to get a nice contract. Nice one. He had a pretty good year last year, top 5 and 3-pointers made and 3-point percentage. Malik Beasley is under investigation for gambling. And it seems like there's some level of validation there because the Pistons have already moved on and signed some people that shoot the ball pretty well to kind of replace him. One of them, being Duncan Robinson. Do y'all feel this is the beginning? This is just only the beginning of gambling issue in the NBA?
I hope not, but probably. I don't know. I think one, he's accused. Nothing's been proven, right? So I haven't read into it. Admittedly, I haven't read any articles on the subject matter. I just saw the headline the other day. So I don't know what kind of damning evidence there is. I know a lot of the clips went online and people were making fun of him, like when Halliburton pointed and then he moved and then Hallie went around him, and obviously he bobbled the possession at the end of the playoffs last year. So nothing's been proven yet. He hasn't been found guilty of anything yet. But I think when you look at how prevalent the presence of gambling is as it pertains to the NBA and then just professional sports in general, I know it's just really tempting because gambling can become an addiction. And once an addiction gets its arms around you, it's just really hard to break free. So, we have very limited line of sight into these guys' lives, their tendencies, their bad habits, those things that they're susceptible to. And when you've got what seems like an endless supply of money, because you're a millionaire, multimillionaire, it may tempt you to I don't even want to speculate. I don't even want to get too deep into speculating because there's so many. It's just such a nuanced situation. But I really hope it's not the beginning of sort of like a epidemic for the league. And I hope that they whatever they're working on to try to deter players from engaging in this kind of behavior. I just hope that it works and that it's something that can be effective, because that starts the slippery slope of the the integrity of the game. And it's already a game that people feel like, oh, it's rigged and whatever. So you just want to protect the game at all costs. So hopefully it's not something that we're going to see a whole lot more of, if any more.
Hey, and we put it on Threads before we started. Article came out from Yahoo Sports that he is also being sued by a company that handles gambling and bets, that he took out a loan of an excess of like $200,000 or something like that. When it rains, it pours. Hopefully he is acquitted of these charges, but the thing that sucks in the situation, we're already seeing it. He was supposed to get this contract with the Pistons. He wanted to stay with the Pistons. He probably will not be with the Pistons, and if he is, it's going to have to be on a very team-friendly contract. And for those that may have forgot, Terry Rozier was under investigation as well. He was cleared, but those allegations are already out. The rep kind of gets a little tarnished, and we're seeing it already with Malik Beasley. Teams is like, hey, let's wait till we hear what the FBI says. Hey, Detroit, we gonna make our moves to add this player. You figure it out on your own. So the thing that sucks in this, if he is found not guilty, FBI not about to recoup the money that he lost, possibly the free agency, which sucks in that regard. But we'll see. We'll let the courts play it out. None of us here are attorneys, lawyers, or anything of the sort. So just reporting on what we know about the sports side of it. Jarrett, I want to ask you this. We kind of talked about it a little bit on Threads. In regards of head scratching moves, because if it is true with Malik Beasley, that's kind of a head scratcher. What's your thoughts on how everything is going with the Pelicans? So I'm gonna read a little bit what they've done. They added Sadiq Bey, Kevon Looney, Jordan Poole. They lose Bruce Brown, CJ McCollum, and Kelly Olynyk to the roster they already have with Zion. We talked about what they did in the draft. Is there a level of concern of what's going on over there in New Orleans, especially being that the people that are making the decisions are Troy Weaver and Joe Dumars, who ran those Pistons teams into like 164 and 300 losses in their time as the decision makers for Detroit?
But so Joe Dumars did run the organization when they won the championship, though, right? That's like the only bright spot they really had.
Yeah, that was his first stint. Came back and did terrible.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Joe Dumars kind of out of touch with the game right now. It's like you sign all these like bigs who just can't really shoot. Like you brought in, I mean, you keeping Zion, you making moves for these forwards and centers who can't shoot at all. Just a bunch of hustle guys, rebounders. Like I'm a big fan of Kevon Looney, but didn't expect that move at all. Yeah, I don't know what Detroit. Sorry, I don't know what the Pelicans are doing right now. Yeah, I'm honestly confused as everybody else. Like I've been trying to piece together like what is the plan here? Like are you just stacking up bigs that are just gonna pile the paint up? Like what kind of method is this? So if that's the game plan, that's not gonna go far in today's NBA. So I feel like Joe Dumars is kind of out of touch with how today's game is played.
Joe Dumars, Troy Weaver. I don't know how they got this job. That was one after what they did in Detroit, but shout out to them. Hopefully they figure it out. Maybe we see something where it's like this is all happening because of the rumor that Zion's going to be traded. So maybe we see Zion traded later on. Another name that we may see traded. Going back to the Buck situation, we looked at the Dame side. We looked at the side of Miles Turner come over there. Giannis, though, was not a fan of the waving of Damian Lillard. Rush, is there any chance you think that now with how they've been handling the offseason so far, only 2 days in, that Giannis might ask for a trade now?
I don't know. Before it seemed like so much news hit like in succession today. Because right before we heard the report that Giannis wasn't happy or didn't know or both that Dame was sort of being sacrificed to sign Miles Turner, I was thinking, you know what, has done all right, like in this free agency. They brought a couple of their rotation guys back, um, and one of the things that really helps in this league is continuity because not many teams can have it because there's so much player movement. But when you can sort of have continuity, I think it just helps with chemistry and other things. But I was like, they haven't had, not a bad free agency, and then they got Turner, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is good. Like Turner can do a lot of the things that Brooke Lopez did, and he's significantly younger, probably a little bit better. So I was thinking Milwaukee sort of, I don't know that they took like a leap forward, but they have sort of entrenched themselves like in the middle of the pack in the East, which is good considering a lot of people thought that they were just going to fall off. But then you hear the Giannis news and it's like, oh. But all that being said, one of the things that came out today was that Giannis was actually recruiting Turner. He just didn't realize it was gonna come at the expense of Dame being waived and stretched. So I think he was obviously surprised. And from what we understand, he didn't know about it. So I think, he's probably a little miffed at that. But ultimately, I think it'll blow over, and I think he'll be a Buck opening night. And it's gonna take like they're gonna have to like really bottom out and have no prospects for Giannis to say, hey, I want to leave. And even then, he may not even recommend it. I think it's going to be a decision management has to make. Like, hey, we're paying this guy almost $100 million a year. Like, like we got to move him and try to reset this thing. Yeah, I don't know that Giannis will ever ask out. I think management's just going to have to like move him.
Hey, real quick before we go on, because I'm gonna list some of the names that's still out there, and y'all tell me if it's a restricted free agent, do you see them returning or a possible team that can't sign them? Before I get to that, article just came out. Obviously, I haven't read all of it yet, but the headlines, a part of the article from the Detroit News, is that ex-Pistons player Malik Beasley's money problems ran so deep, he pledged his current and future NBA contracts as collateral in one deal and stiffed his dentist. That dentist started seizing part of Beasley's NBA paychecks in February. It's not looking good for Malik.
So
That is true.
Timeout. So he basically wagered his future NBA contracts.
According to the Detroit News, I didn't fully read the article, but this is what came out. I was just sent this just now. This is what came out in the Detroit News, part of the article from the
somebody sent it to you, huh? Okay, Tom, look at you getting scoops and stuff, bro. I hear you. Go ahead.
So somebody just sent this to me in regards to this situation, and that's what some of the information is coming out from the FBI's early findings from this investigation.
Dropping inside scoops on the podcast now.
Hey, you need to go ahead and set up that tip line on the IG. Set up a channel just for tips. No, that's crazy though, man. That's crazy because it's crazy. But at the same time, I think a lot of people would have said it looked bad for Terry Rozier, and he's been cleared. So, the hearing those kinds of details, it's always like, damn, like what is dude out here doing? But you kind of got to wait for the thing to play out.
Yep,
but
we'll see how it
doesn't look
out.
good. Doesn't look good though.
Does not look good, but
he's not gonna get another contract.
Hey, that's the thing that's going. If any of this is true, and you're not getting another NBA contract, hey, we might see a couple more lawsuits of people saying that he owes him money. We got some free agents still left out there. It's only day 2. Some names out there, restricted free agents, which obviously for those that's watching that may not know, that means the team that they are currently on, they have the opportunity to match the contract. One of the biggest names out there for restricted free agents is Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga returns to the Warriors, or he will be on a different team starting next season.
I hope
I
he's
think
on
it's gonna be
another
on
team.
this team. Me too.
I hope he's
I
gone.
think.
I
Yeah. I hope
It's
he's not
just
going back to the Warriors.
yeah, I'm just tired of the drama or whatever, bro. Like it's just messy. Like how long we been dealing with this? Like 2 seasons now.
Mm.
Just go. Like just let Brooklyn throw like a $30 million a year contract at him, and let him go to Brooklyn and cook with Cam Thomas.
Michael Porter
Let
Jr.
them, yeah, and Michael Porter Jr. Let them all take turns putting up 20 shots a game and just let him flourish. I think he's got talent. And for the life of me, like we've seen this with Steve Kerr, be it the Olympics or even with James Wiseman a little bit. There are certain players, if they don't easily fit into what they like to do, you don't really see them sort of adjust a whole lot. It's like you just sort of banish the player. And it's weird. I don't, obviously they've been able to win. I'm not trying to degrade Kerr as a coach. He's obviously like elite, one of the greatest. Like his resume speaks for itself. But it's just kind of weird with certain players. You see the talent, you see the potential, but for some reason they don't try to cultivate it. So I hope it's over at this point because I don't see it being any better. I see us just dealing with this all over again for another year until he can reach restricted free agency.
So I was watching this
Or
video.
unrestricted free agency, excuse me.
I was watching this video about that situation with Eric Pascal. You guys remember him, right? Came in
Yeah.
rookie year with the Warriors. He was balling, and then it was basically like the next year. It's like Steph is back, so the system is going to be built around Steph again. And it was like Eric felt like like I balled out last year. I should get some touches too. I should be fit into the offense, but it didn't work out that way, and they ended up sending him to Utah. And after that, he was out the league. So that's a real thing. And I think
Yeah.
Jordan Hill, not Jordan Hill. What was the big man that they had? Jordan Bell. Jordan Bell basically talked
Um,
about that as well.
Hey, we hear that sometimes with some of these coaches that already have championships, that the patience for some of the young talent doesn't always be given. We heard it with Phil at times too. So it's not just Kerr. It might be a thing like, hey, I'm coaching teams to win a championship. If you're a little slow and you ain't picking up the playbook, you ain't picking up what you're supposed to do, it seems like there's a lack of patience, and I get it on both sides. Hopefully, like y'all said, they are able to let him go, let him be free. The Warriors are kind of being that toxic dude that, no, I don't want to see you with anybody else but me, but I don't want you to go. Like, that's what they're doing to Kuminga. Let him be free and go find a team where he could actually flourish and play his game and figure out, honestly, his game. You don't really get to hone in on your game when you're playing with greats like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. You're playing a role.
yeah.
Maybe he has more to his game.
I saw one of the more fascinating things on that I've seen on social is like how the Warriors fan base, at least on Threads, this is really the only social media app I'm on, it's just split on Kerr. It seems like half of them hate him, feel like he's overrated, needs to get gone, like he's past his prime, and then the other half is like, no, Kerr is great. He's gotten us everything that we've had recently. Like, let him cook. So it's fascinating. Like after every loss that the Warriors have, it's just you just see them both sides like just going back and forth. And I'm sure that's not unique to Warriors. I'm sure there's other fan bases like that, but that one seems to always hit my timeline.
I think that's even across NBA fans in general. Like you mentioned, some people was like, what he did in the Olympics was terrible. Some say, hey, no, that's was a smart move. So Kerr is definitely one of those coaches where it's not everybody agrees on his coaching acumen and how good of a coach he actually is. Staying with the Warriors, though, report just came out. It's developing currently. The Warriors have been from Mark J. Spears. The Warriors have been one of the main teams that's actually in touch with Damian Lillard. I want y'all thoughts on that. A Dame and Steph pairing. Like it, love it, hate it.
You know that. Okay. I actually kind of like it. It's been few years that Steph hasn't played with another dominant ball dominant guard since basically Jordan Poole. Um, and I thought we all kind of thought before, of course, the situation happened with Poole and Draymond. We thought Poole would be kind of like that backcourt mate with Steph going into the future, Steph riding off into the sunset, and Jordan Poole taking the reins. So now, even though Dame is significantly older than Jordan Poole, him and Steph is the same age basically. So, kind of for them to pair up together and kind of be that backcourt, that sharpshooting backcourt, I kind of like it. I think that's a good idea. And I know Dame and Draymond are really good friends as well. So I'm not mad at it at all.
Back to the list. Restricted free agent Quentin Grimes. It's reported that he wants about $25 million per year. Does he return back to Philly, or y'all see him exiting to a different team?
What are his thoughts on Brooklyn as a destination? Because I feel like that might be the only way he gets 25 million. There's just not a whole lot of teams out there with cap. And honestly, I think he sort of showed some flashes of being able to be. I don't know if he can be a number one option. There were certainly nights where he had to be for Philly because they're so depleted by injuries. I don't know if he's looking for that type of role. And even if he is, I don't know that he's going to be able to find it this offseason. Maybe take a qualifying and try it next year, and hopefully nothing happens. You don't get hurt or anything like that. But it's just a tough market out there. So I think he might be staying put.
Maybe Chicago could throw something at him.
Perfect transition. All in my notes. The next restricted free agent that is a part of this conversation, Josh Giddey.
I knew he was going to go there.
Does Giddey stay a Bull, or is he finding a new home? And Rush kind of talked about this, I think, 2 episodes ago, that more than likely they're going to throw him a bag. But what do y'all think?
Yeah, he about to get paid.
Yeah, he's definitely about to get paid.
Yeah, I don't see him going anywhere. Yeah. Oh yeah, by Chicago. Excuse me. I don't see him leaving to win the city.
Some unrestricted free agents out there. Some interesting names is left. DeAndre Ayton. Where could be a possible landing spot for him? By the way, it's been talks that with the Pacers losing Miles Turner, they're in conversation as well for Ayton as a replacement.
So what's funny about that? Ayton got that initial max contract, the offer sheet from Indiana, right? When he was still in Phoenix. And Phoenix just matched it.
I believe so.
Yeah. So I mean, it didn't make sense then for him and Miles Turner to be there together. But now, I mean, with Miles Turner gone, makes a lot more sense. But anything will be either Denver or LA, the Lakers.
I just God, this is very sensitive. This is a very sensitive topic for me. I could see him in either spot. Hopefully, it's with the purple and gold. But I'm looking at not to derail, but I'm looking at my Threads feed, and apparently Dave McMenamin is reporting that apparently LA is weighing several trade scenarios to acquire an unnamed center, and are talking about potential 3-team trades. I don't know why we can't just I don't know why we got to do this cat and mouse game. I don't know why we can't just name people. But if I would assume, based on everything I've heard, putting pieces together, immediately I just think Cleveland. And they're trying to get Jarrett Allen. So probably working through a team with some cap space, so maybe Brooklyn, Utah, give them some assets, draft capital, whatever. They'll take a Gabe Vincent or whatever. Like, I don't know what all the numbers are, but that's what comes to mind for me. So if you can't get Aiden, hopefully this unnamed player trade is a real thing, where they can pull that off.
Hopefully it's Jarrett Allen, or I've heard even Nick Claxton could be a player that they try to trade for. We shall see. It's Rob Pelinka. I don't have much faith in Rob. We saw what he did last offseason. So, and I don't give much credit to the Luka thing. That was Nico.
That's crazy. I got my thank you Nico shirt on.
Thank you, Nico. Not Rob. Thank you, Nico. Another unrestricted free agent out there. Two legends. Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul. Where do you think these guys end up?
I think I saw Chris is probably going to spin the block, right? It's either Phoenix or LA Clippers, the junior team in LA. And Russ, is I know Sacramento signed Schroeder. Is there still talks of Sacramento maybe potentially being interested in him, or no? Because Dallas signed D'Lo, so I feel like that wouldn't be a spot for him, though I don't know that ever was. So it's just like we talked about. I don't know if it was last episode or the episode before with Russ. I mean, it's just tough because where does he fit, right? Like I don't know that he really fits anywhere with any team that's an established contender or a team that feels like they're a piece or two away. So then you just got to kind of look at teams that need a point guard or a backup point guard. So I don't know. I don't know where he ends up. Like, I think wherever he ends up is going to be like a total, like everybody's going to be surprised. Like, oh, damn, I didn't think he was going to go there.
I don't know where he ends up either. Chris Paul is pretty much one of those two teams, as you mentioned, which I saw that's what he was interested in. I don't know if we got any reports that the Clippers or Suns are interested in that. We shall see. That's what I'm wondering in that regard. Suns probably yes. The Suns more so interested. Clippers, I don't even know if that's a good fit for him if he would want to do that as well. You're basically backing up Harden anyway, but you go to Phoenix, you could possibly start with how that roster is looking, depending on what type of lineup they want to run over there in Phoenix. Sticking with the Clippers, though, it's another name over there that's an unrestricted free agent. I wonder where he possibly ends up, if he ends up anywhere. Ben Simmons. Does anybody sign Ben Simmons this offseason?
The question is that now I don't know if it's necessarily does he get signed, is will he be willing to take a minimum? Because I believe what I read was that he didn't want to take it, he wanted more than a minimum. So I don't know if that's he wants like a biannual or a taxpayer, but like I don't know what he envisions in his mind. If he comes down from that a little bit, I think he can end up somewhere. I mean, he's 6'10", ball handling skills, can still do things defensively, can still play make. So there's a spot for him somewhere. But I think it's all going to come down to if he moves off that taking more than him, because he's going to have to prove himself. That one that he can stay healthy and do that he can still contribute at a high level, warrant that type of price tag. So I don't know.
Before we head on to some of our WNBA talk, Jaren Jackson Jr. just got that big extension. He has sustained a turf toe injury while playing off-site of the team's facility and will require a surgical procedure. Wendy is estimating he will be out for 4 to 5 months. Big blow.
I think that's definitely the thing you want to hear as management after you just sign somebody to a $240 million extension. That's Memphis, man. I feel like that's just Memphis in a nutshell. Not the city, because I love Memphis. My mom's family and stuff. So I got people in Memphis. I love y'all. But I'm talking about the organization, like JJ. Like just random stuff, man. That's why it's hard to take them seriously as a contender because they do stuff like this. Yeah, that's crazy.
Tough times.
You
Now
guys,
in the
you guys know how I feel about Jerry Jackson Jr., so I'll just keep it as that.
James is over there like, see, I told you.
WNBA All Star, man. We have the starters have been announced and team captains. For those that might have missed it, the starters are Aaliyah Boston, Paige Beckers, Sabrina Ionescu, Caitlin Clark, Nafisa Collier, Alicia Gray, Satu Sabali, Stewie, Asia, and Nige Aguma K. Any snubs you see, Jarrett, from this list of starters? I know for me, one name that I thought would have hit the starters was Skylar Diggins. Currently, she is 7th in scoring, 4th in assists, 18.9 points, 6.1 assists, but she was 9th in that fan vote, which hurt her and why she isn't a starter. Anybody for you comes to mind as a snub for not being a starter for the WNBA All-Star game?
Wait, did Alyssa Thomas make it as a starter?
No, she did not.
That would be my snub. That would definitely be my snub. Let me look at her stats real quick. 'Cause I know she's like a walking triple double. Yep, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. And Phoenix is the second best team in the league. I mean, Satu's having a great year, honestly. So at least one of them got the starting spot on that team. I definitely think two of them should be the starters, especially second best team in the league. You gotta have at least two starters.
I think the coaches will definitely vote her in as a reserve for sure. 12 reserves will be
Yeah.
picked July 6th, and it will be announced July 8th, I believe. Caitlin Clark finished first in fan votes, the most ever, third in media voting, but she was 9th in player voting. Rush, do you take any stock
Why
in the
you
fact that
why you giving me the Kayla Clark? Why you giving me the Kayla Clark question, man? Man, you trying to get me caught up. Hey, man. I'm about to have that mob come after me, yo. Money. Go ahead, man. Ask the question.
do you think it's kind of being blown out proportion of the whole discussion that now it's all the players, they don't like her, they voted her 9th, she's overrated, all the different discussion that's been going on, especially being she struggled in her last couple of games that she's played with more turnovers than assists, and I believe shooting under like 35%.
I'm sorry. I heard the question. What was the crux of it? Like, do I think it's being overblown, the fact that the players voted her 9th? I don't think it's over. I don't know that it's necessarily overblown. I think if anybody is apt to determine how well a basketball player is playing or how much, they sort of mean to the game, it's a basketball player, right? Like these are her peers. So I don't know. Maybe they just, like you said, she hasn't been shooting it that well. The turnovers have been a thing. She's been banged up, I think, probably the first time in her professional career, or definitely professional career, but even stretching into college. So it's been a very up and down year, and the Fever's record has sort of mirrored that. So I think we can all pretty much agree, and this is true in the WNBA and NBA and maybe even the other professional sports, even though I don't follow them that closely. Like the fan vote, you kind of take with a grain of salt. Like it's just, fans are going to pick their favorite person. And obviously there's no one more popular in the league right now than Caitlin Clark. So I think that's, the reason for the record setting vote tally. But I think when you get to the players, that's where the, people sort of come back down from those elevated fan votes. So I think it's probably fair based on the year she's had. relative to some of the other players in the league, some of the other players who don't get as much shine in the press, in the media. So my mind doesn't immediately jump to, oh, these players are hating on Caitlin when I hear that she was voted ninth. I look at the stats. I look at a lot of the other players. I look at records and things like that. And, I think it's relatively fair. Are there some people who don't like her because of the attention and her fans? Probably. But I don't think that that's dominating the reason why she was voted ninth among the players.
I want to give you the floor to talk about your Dallas Wings. Paige Beckers is one of the actual starters for the All-Star game. She joins now the sixth first-year player to achieve that feat, joining obviously the aforementioned Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Shawnee Schimmel, Brittany Griner, and Maya Moore. That's a great company to be listed with for Paige for your Dallas Wings.
Wait. Angel Reese was it the starter last year?
Not according to these stats right here, my guy.
Oh wow, I thought she started. Oh, I must be tripping. Okay. I stand corrected.
She's been playing really well lately. The obviously the record is, you would like it to be a lot better. And as we said the last time we talked about the Wings, I think they have a lot of different things going on at once that make it really hard for this team to be better than what they've been. But I do see there are some glimmers of promise, and I do think that there's some good things happening. Number one is just Paige is starting to come into her own, and I think is really starting to adjust and find her fit within this offense. It's not the easiest thing, being the type of player she is, coming into an already established hierarchy, with Enrique sort of being the go-to on that team. I give her a lot of praise welcoming Paige in, because it's not always the easiest thing to give up shots when you like shooting, and when that's been your role since you've been in the league. So I think the other night, I can't remember who they played. Forgive me, it's the Don Julio. But she played really, really well, even though it ended up being a loss. I think she's hit 20 points, like 4 out of the last 6 games or something like that. She's just playing well, man. And that's for any of us that have been watching Paige, that's just the Paige that we expected her to be. And she's arriving. I think, I don't know if it's sooner than everybody expected, but she's arriving, and I think she's only going to get better. But I'm just glad that she was rewarded with the starting nod in the All-Star game.
Just for Jarrett and for those that's watching that may have been wondering who were the starters last year, Aaliyah Boston started, Caitlin Clark, Nafisha Collier, Kalia Copper, De'Erica Hamby, Sabrina, Enrique, Brianna, Stewie, Asia Wilson, and Jackie Young were the starters. Angel Reese got in on the reserves. That's how it was last year. And one more stat from this All-Star coming up, Nike Agumike. She now has her 10th All-Star selection, which is tied for third most all time. The most WNBA All-Star appearances are 13. Was this by Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, or Lisa Leslie?
Lisa. Matter of fact, no. I'm going with Diana.
Tell me the options again. Sue. Did you say Sue?
Yeah, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, Lisa Leslie. 13 All-Star appearances.
Diana.
Sue Bird. Sue Bird with 13.
I was gonna say Sue Bird, and then I changed my.
DT has 11, so that was with that one. So on Mind the Game Pod, KD, really good episode. KD and Bron, they were discussing 4 guys in the league that they think every time they see them shoot, it's going in. Who are those 4 guys for y'all? When you see them shoot, you think, oh, it's going in every time.
Is this against the Lakers, or is this just in general? Because everybody, especially if it's from 3, everybody turns into Steph Curry against the Lakers. Go Go ahead, Jared. I'm gonna hear yours first.
Um, at a point, it was Duncan Robinson. Every time I see him shoot the ball, it was like, oh yeah, that's going in. But definitely Duncan Robinson. Steph is definitely up there. Um, Shea off the mid range, man. I think it's just money every time. And um, Sean Livingston. Sean Livingston with that 99 mid range back when he's on the Warriors. Yeah, that was that guy right there. Hit you with that little between the legs, catch you in the mid range, high ass form, money. So those four.
Went to the archives for that one. Sean
Oh, for
Livingston.
real.
Go Google him if y'all don't know who he is.
I'm gonna say Nas Reed. This is in no particular order, but Nas Reed, Steph, Jokic. There's three. Shea from mid range, and I'm trying to think of like Luke Kennard.
Luke Kennard.
Doesn't get a lot of burn, but I feel like every time he shoots, mostly because when I watch him play, it's because he's playing the Lakers. He's just automatic. But I mean, his 3-point percentage is always like top 10 in the league. I feel like so. I wanted to give a role player some love instead of just picking stars.
Yes, in the last 6 seasons, he's actually led the NBA twice in a 3-point percentage. To your point,
Who did Bron and KD say?
Bron and KD said Steph. They said Shea from Midi. They said shoot. Let me see if I can find it. They said Steph, Shea.
At least we all agree with Steph and Shea.
Oh yeah, when you said it too, they literally said the same thing. Midi, it's automatic. They feel so. Is this it right here?
I mean, Kevin Durant would probably be one of them too from mid range.
Yeah.
Mostly just
So it's KD, Steph, Shea, and Dag Nash. I'm not here to talk. Kawhi Leonard.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Kawhi. They said to get to that mid range, get to his spot. You feel it's going in every time, and that's pretty accurate when you talk about Kawhi. Ending off the show with this, right? Which player's career do you feel would have benefited the most if they won a title? Steve Nash, Reggie Miller, John Stockton. I know, Jarrett, you're probably not going to say Reggie, being that he tortured your team for a lot of years.
But you know what's funny about that though? I would say Reggie before John Stockton. For me, I'm not a huge John Stockton fan, honestly. But I think for me it would be Nash.
So
Two-time MVP.
Yeah. So the question was, whose career would it mean more to have won a title?
Yeah, who would it have benefited the most, Nash, Reggie, or Stockton?
I think Nash, I would say. Yeah, I would say Nash.
Yeah, he got two-time MVP. Then he probably wouldn't be the Finals MVP. It would probably be if it was like the Suns teams. It'll probably be Amari who get the Finals MVP, just because how dominant he was at that time period. But definitely Nash.
Yeah, and in fact, a lot of people feel like one of his MVPs was fraudulent. So,
do you think that? Because I know one of them, people said it should have been Kobe or LeBron.
Should have been Kobe.
I don't necessarily have an opinion on the matter. I'm just telling you what I know people to say. People have said that they feel like it's fraudulent. But me personally, I don't.
One day we're
But
gonna ask you to get your opinion on it.
But you know what's funny about Nash
gotta catch me
conversation?
when I've been well.
So it's like we don't talk about Nash as like when we ask about greatest point guards ever, people don't mention Nash for some reason. They'll mention Chris Paul, they'll mention Jason Kidd, like all the older point guards who don't have any MVPs, but Nash has two of them.
Yeah,
It's like on top of Nash, his assists was crazy. His shooting percentages, like he shot 50, 40, 90, like the most in NBA history. Two MVPs is like, why don't we talk about him as one of the greatest point guards ever? We'll put
yeah.
Stockton before Nash. Me personally, I'm putting Nash before Stockton.
Yeah, I think Stockton more so just because of the steals and the assists.
It's longevity.
And the that's true too. And the finals appearances. And it's really it's easier to rack up those kinds of assist numbers when you pass into an all-time power forward. So that is interesting. I noticed Nash does tend to get left out of those discussions, but those Phoenix teams, man, especially early on, those offenses, and he was the engine. Yeah, he made all of that stuff go, as evidenced by the MVPs. But yeah, I think he should get a little bit more love in that discussion.
Hey, Jason Kidd once said this, which I think we can see was actually true and valid to how the OKC won, and whoever wins next, what ends up happening. Championship teams are built on being prepared, playing unselfishly, and being held accountable. The Corner Three Podcast. Peace.